Congratulations to the graduating class of C.K. McClatchy High School, the graduating class of 2020. My graduation from McClatchy is still in my memory, and that was about 65 years ago. My name is Anthony Kennedy, and my graduating class was McClatchy class of 1954. We live in Washington, D.C. now because of my position with the courts. But we miss Sacramento and we miss McClatchy very, very much. You're going to leave things behind and you're going to find things ahead of you. One of the things you're going to leave behind is your love for McClatchy, for your teachers, for its traditions, for its sports, and for your friendships.
M is for mighty, C is for class, C is for courage, L is for laughs. That was the beginning of McClatchy High School's fight song when I graduated from McClatchy 56 years ago. Greetings and congratulations to McClatchy's graduating class of 2020. I'm Art Scotland, class of 1964 and retired presiding justice of the California Court of Appeal, 3rd Appellate District. I'm sorry for you that with a virtual graduation ceremony and no senior ball, your studies at McClatchy are not ending as you expected and hoped. But I'm excited for you that despite the setbacks caused by the pandemic, the future holds many positive and exciting possibilities, and just as earlier generations have overcome adversity, your generation can and will too. This is a defining moment for you, and how you choose to handle your disappointment and the uncertainties ahead will define who you are and what you can accomplish in life. In the words of McClatchy's old fight song, with class, courage, laughs, plus a positive attitude, work ethic, resilience, kindness, and a community spirit, years from now you can look back, not with disappointment, but with pride that you have become the next great generation. Go class of 2020, go Lions!
Parents, guardians, faculty, and staff. My name is Peter Lambert, the proud principal of C.K. McClatchy High School. It's my pleasure to come to you this afternoon and present to you the class of 2020. This is an unprecedented time that we're living in, and this is an unprecedented class, the class of 2020. In my 10 years as principal at C.K. McClatchy High School, and in the 80-plus years that C.K. McClatchy High School has been in existence, this is our first time experiencing a virtual graduation. This class has had the opportunity to live through many challenges, and those challenges, I am sure, are going to allow this class to overcome whatever obstacles they must in the future. This class has experienced the racial divide that is separating our country at this time, has experienced unprecedented economic downturn and unemployment rates that are skyrocketing. This class has also experienced a global pandemic that has caused everyone to have to social distance and to remain at home. Although you face unprecedented challenges as you graduate and enter the world of work, into the world of college, into the world of unprecedented challenges, I know that you are ready, that you are prepared, and that you will overcome whatever obstacles you face. To all of our parents, I want to again thank you for allowing your students to be members of the C.K. McClatchy High School Lions Pride. I want to thank you for allowing your students to come with us for the last 4 years in their journey through secondary education. I want you to know that we appreciate all that you've done, attending all of the activities and events, and making sure that your students are here well prepared and are the best students that they can be. To all of our faculty and staff, I want to thank you for extending yourselves beyond the classroom, for supporting the students through all of the challenges and through each of the demands that they face throughout their 4 years here at C.K. McClatchy High School. And to the graduating class of 2020, I want to thank you for all that you've done to keep the traditions of excellence here at C.K. McClatchy High School high. Again, to the class of 2020, I salute you and I congratulate you.
Hi, everybody. Anaya, thank you for that beautiful introduction. I could not be prouder of everything you've done in your time with the Obama Foundation. And, of course, I couldn't be prouder of all of you in the graduating class of 2020, as well as the teachers and the coaches, and most of all, parents and family who guided you along the way. Now, graduating is a big achievement under any circumstances. Some of you have had to overcome serious obstacles along the way, whether it was an illness or a parent losing a job or living in a neighborhood where people too often count you out. Along with the usual challenges of growing up, all of you have had to deal with the added pressures of social media, reports of school shootings, and the specter of climate change. And then, just as you're about to celebrate having made it through, just as you've been looking forward to proms and senior nights, graduation ceremonies, and let's face it, a whole bunch of parties, the world is turned upside down by a global pandemic. And as much as I'm sure you love your parents, I'll bet that being stuck at home with them and playing board games or watching Tiger King on TV is not exactly how you envisioned the last few months of your senior year. Now, I'll be honest with you. The disappointments of missing a live graduation, those will pass pretty quick. I don't remember much of my own high school graduation. I know that not having to sit there and listen to a commencement speaker isn't all that bad. Mine usually go on way too long. Also, not that many people look great in those caps, especially if you have big ears like me. And you'll have plenty of time to catch up with your friends once the immediate public health crisis is over. But what remains true is that your graduation marks your passage into adulthood, the time when you begin to take charge of your own life. It's when you get to decide what's important to you, the kind of career you want to pursue, who you want to build a family with, the values you want to live by. And given the current state of the world, that may be kind of scary. If you'd planned on going away for college, getting dropped off at campus in the fall, that's no longer a given. If you are planning to work while going to school, finding that first job is going to be tougher. Even families that are relatively well off are dealing with massive uncertainty. Those who were struggling before, they're hanging on by a thread. All of which means that you're going to have to grow up faster than some generations. This pandemic has shaken up the status quo and laid bare a lot of our country's deep-seated problems, from massive economic inequality to ongoing racial disparities to a lack of basic health care for people who need it. It's woken a lot of young people up to the fact that the old ways of doing things just don't work. That it doesn't matter how much money you make if everyone around you is hungry and sick, and that our society and our democracy only work when we think not just about ourselves, but about each other. it's also pulled the curtain back on another hard truth. Something that we all have to eventually accept once our childhood comes to an end. You know, all those adults that you used to think were in charge and knew what they were doing, turns out they don't have all the answers. A lot of them aren't even asking the right questions. So if the world's going to get better, it's going to be up to you. That realization may be kind of intimidating, but I hope it's also inspiring. With all the challenges this country faces right now, nobody can tell you, no, you're too young to understand, or this is how it's always been done. Because with so much uncertainty, with everything suddenly up for grabs, this is your generation's world to shape. Since I'm one of the old guys, I won't tell you what to do with this power that rests in your hands, but I'll leave you with 3 quick pieces of advice. First, don't be afraid. America's gone through tough times before. Slavery, civil war, famine, disease, the Great Depression, and 9/11. And each time, we came out stronger. Usually because a new generation, young people like you, learned from past mistakes and figured out how to make things better. Second, do what you think is right. Doing what feels good, what's convenient, what's easy, that's how little kids think. Unfortunately, a lot of so-called grown-ups, including some with fancy titles and important jobs, still think that way, which is why things are so screwed up. I hope that instead you decide to ground yourself in values that last, like honesty, hard work, responsibility, fairness, generosity, respect for others. You won't get it right every time. You'll make mistakes, like we all do. But if you listen to the truth that's inside yourself, even when it's hard, even when it's inconvenient, people will notice. They'll gravitate towards you. And you'll be part of the solution instead of part of the problem. And finally, build a community. No one does big things by themselves. Right now, when people are scared, it's easy to be cynical and say, let me just look out for myself, or my family, or people who look or think or pray like me. But if we're going to get through these difficult times, if we're going to create a world where everybody has opportunity to find a job and afford college, if we're going to save the environment and defeat future pandemics, then we're going to have to do it together. So be alive to one another's struggles. Stand up for one another's rights. Leave behind all the old ways of thinking that divide us: sexism, racial prejudice, status, greed, and set the world on a different path. When you need help, Michelle and I have made it the mission of our foundation to give young people like you the skills and support to lead in your own communities and to connect you with other young leaders around the country and around the globe. But the truth is, you don't need us to tell you what to do, because in so many ways, you've already started to lead. Congratulations, class of 2020. Keep making us proud.
Hello, I'm Jorge Aguilar, Superintendent of Sac City Unified School District. Congratulations to the class of 2020. Congratulations to the family, friends, guardians, and community members for your support of these graduates, for your sacrifices and all you've done to get us to this moment, even if this is different than what you thought it would be. I know this is probably not what you imagined when you looked forward to your high school graduation. But no matter what you do today, it doesn't minimize or take away from all that you've accomplished thus far and what you will accomplish going forward. And for families, we know this is different for you too. But we know the change in circumstance won't take away that feeling of pride you have for your student. Class of 2020, I hope today is the first of many similar celebrations and memorable transitions for you in your education, career, and personal life. This graduation ceremony is a marker and a great achievement, but it is not a definition. What you've done to get here and what you'll do moving forward is what really matters. This probably won't be the first time you need to adjust something that you didn't expect. It's our ability to take the unexpected and make it work. That is the real testament to who we are. It's the grit, the tenacity. In Spanish, we call it the ganas that helps you get through these things. It's our willingness to shift and pivot when it matters the most. Your life will never be a straight line. Of course, I don't have to tell you this because you're here today. I'm sure your journey here was full of bumps and curves and all kinds of surprises, both good and bad. Your curriculum here at Sac City Unified focused on academic, social, and emotional learning. We know that in order to succeed, your needs must be met beyond grades and academics. We know that for many, this journey is harder. And it is for this reason that we all, as we've learned from our time here at Sac City Unified, must give grace and compassion and acknowledgement that the road is different for everyone. Sometimes we must even give grace and compassion to ourselves. Leave here today with a confidence to set high expectations for yourself. But do not let failures deter you from working toward your goals. In fact, failure is not the falling down, but the staying down. We're experiencing this crisis collectively, but it impacts all of us differently, the same as most things in life. Our acknowledgement of that allows us to tackle crises more effectively, to see things more clearly, and to challenge injustices and inequities. This will not be easy. It takes courage, it takes resolve, emotional intelligence, and empathy. While the crisis we're experiencing today might be memorable, I hope the memory of it will pale in comparison to your achievement here today. You have so much to look forward to, well beyond the challenges that we're facing in this moment. But I do hope that you will take something from it. Success is not only about achievement, it's supporting one another. It's about being able to look around the world knowing that we really are in this together. We've seen this more than ever in the last few months. We've seen songs on balconies, gratitude for our first responders, virtual support and outreach to those who need it, creative responses to serve our community's needs, whether it's providing food to our families, internet and computers to those without access, or check-ins to those who need a friend. When we are there for each other, it matters. And when we fail to support one another, it matters too. We can't pretend that we haven't seen the consequence of inaction as well. You've seen both in real time and what it means on the ground. My hope for you, class of 2020, is that you will take this knowledge that for many takes a lifetime to acquire, and apply it going forward no matter what you choose to do with your future. It's what we do for each other that makes the biggest difference. If you can view the world through the lens of another, you will go far, because each one of you matters. Each one of you will make a difference, and it is your choice what kind of difference that is. Class of 2020, we are proud of you. Congratulations on this momentous accomplishment. I am honored to celebrate this special moment with you.
Hello, CK McClatchy, class of 2020. My name is Lisa Morawski, and it's a great honor for me to be able to celebrate you all today. Greta Thunberg, the young girl from Sweden who has become the world's conscience about our climate crisis, said to a group of world leaders last year, "You look to us young people for hope. How dare you?" As if it's the job of the youth to solve the problems those very leaders have failed to address. I don't have to tell you that is an extraordinary amount of pressure to put on your generation. I don't have to tell you it's an extraordinary time to graduate high school. On top of a global pandemic, there is unrest all around us. What is supposed to be a season of spreading your wings, of new beginnings and new connections, has instead become marred by isolation, grief, and uncertainty about things we thought we could take for granted. Sometimes it seems like the ground is shifting underneath our feet. Your generation has already begun to confront these great challenges and will need to demonstrate more courage, clarity of purpose, and moral leadership than many of the adults in charge right now have modeled for you. But today is your day, and our day to recognize your achievements. To those who have struggled academically to get to this point and cross that virtual stage, to those who are first in their family to get a diploma or to go to college, congratulations. Your accomplishments are all the more meaningful for the barriers you overcame to get here. To those to whom academic success came easily, congratulations. With your hard work, you have reached the heights of academic excellence, and we could not be prouder. Remember as you celebrate that so many have poured the love and care and resources into establishing the foundation for your success. None of us is an island unto ourselves. So remember to show gratitude for your teachers, your family, your peers, and your community, and to pay it forward. None of us is an island, but you know that. If there's one thing the C.K. McClatchy class of 2020 knows in its bones, it's how interconnected we all are. Like Martin Luther King Jr. said, we are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. What affects one directly affects all indirectly. What could possibly demonstrate this better than a global pandemic? And from coast to coast, people are protesting because they know that injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. As the class of 2020, you embody these lessons. We will get through this pandemic. We will conquer, with your help, the chronic disease of racism and division we are suffering, and confront many more challenges together, united in the knowledge of our inescapable mutuality. And I know, Greta, you don't want us grown-ups to make the youth a vessel of our hope for the future. We know we have to do better for our youth right now. But when I look out at the class of 2020, knowing what you are capable of, knowing the extraordinary things that you as a class will accomplish, knowing you will build a better world than the one you were given, I can't help but feel a profound and radiant sense of hope. Go Lions! I know you will make us proud.
Hello everyone, my name is Monica Woods Gray. I am the Chief Meteorologist at ABC 10 right here in Sacramento and also a parent of a graduating senior. I am so honored to be part of this historic day with all of you. C.K. McClatchy class of 2020, you are the true originals. You've weathered changes we've never experienced before.
And that's a situation that we're going to be keeping an eye on. Oh, got some breaking news just coming into the newsroom. Sacramento City schools announcing students will not be returning to campus for the rest of the year due to the recent outbreak of COVID-19. We'll stay on top of that.
Distance learning, virtual prom, and now virtual graduation. If any class was ready for this, it's yours. You are now a part of history. We're going to be talking about your class for years and decades to come. As this pandemic has gone on, you've navigated through the uncertainty, the questions.
There's a mutuality and there's a recognition of our interdependence that requires of this moment that we direct a statewide order for people to stay at home.
Yet through it all, you've shown resilience, persistence, and ironically, perhaps more togetherness than even the last time you were together, March 13th. You have achieved perspective that takes years for most of us to understand. You have inspired so many of us to persevere when things just seem too overwhelming. You learned to pivot when life threw you a curveball no one expected.
There are still many unanswered questions, and there's no doubt that even as we gradually return, that we are going to have to return in a way that is different than ever before.
This has been a strange time. Has it been a curse or a gift? Every one of you has embraced it differently. As time goes on, you may start to take inventory of how this time changed who you were and suddenly who you've become. Steve Jobs, co-creator of Apple, said in life, you can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking back. In some ways, today is a time to say goodbye to our past and hello to our future, but most of all, a day to celebrate you. Right now, the class of 2020. There's been no one else like you. I wish you all the greatest of success. However it is you define it, own it. It's yours. You earned it. Congratulations, and thanks again so much for letting me be a part of this day.
March 13th was the first day of our school closure. For the class of 2020, it's only fitting that our entrance into life under quarantine fell on a Friday the 13th. Due to random chance and sheer bad luck, over the past 4 years, we have persevered through a series of unwanted and unprecedented circumstances. In our time at McClatchy, we have overcome everything from bomb threats to national political turmoil, budget issues to controversial projects, and now we are facing the most terrifying threat yet, a global pandemic. Given all this, it makes complete sense that our high school careers came to an abrupt close on a day traditionally viewed as unlucky. Friday the 13th is, if anything, an apt metaphor for our experience as the class of 2020. And yet, amidst it all, we have managed to survive and even thrive. We are defined not just as the class that lost its senior year, but also by the bonds we have formed with one another. Precisely because we've been through so many unusual struggles together, we are inextricably connected. At our 10-year reunion, I have no doubt that we will still reminisce about our time in high school, even though it was cut short. We will look back on the red game day outfits and the frantic study sessions at Espresso Metro, and we'll remember the good parts of being the class of 2020. In the words of the emperor from Mulan, the flower that blooms in adversity is the rarest and most beautiful of all. So, to the CKM teachers and staff members who spent countless hours helping their students, thank you. To the Lions who showed up ready to learn, the yearbook photographers and numerous club officers and dedicated ASB board, to the programs like the Criminal Justice Academy, VEPA, ROTC, HISP, and LPPA, thank you. Quite simply, thank you to everyone who's helped mold McClatchy into something challenging, rewarding, and diverse. What other public institution serving thousands of teenagers could nonetheless manage to showcase pieces in the Crocker Art Museum every year, achieve a state championship in basketball, and produce nationally renowned graduates? When I first entered high school, I was so concerned with trying to get perfect grades and ace every test. The last 4 years have been challenging with tons of essay writing, yeah. But the CKM community has also taught me something far more valuable: the importance of experiences beyond just going home every day, watching TV, and doing my homework. Especially in junior and senior year, I learned to live in the moment and create lasting memories with those who I hold dear. From attending school dances for the first time to joining the women's water polo team. The ability to craft lifelong friendships and make its students better people is exactly what makes us so special. McClatchy is unpredictable, but it is our school, and we should be proud of that. To be totally honest, it's heartbreaking to have to graduate virtually without any sense of closure whatsoever. It feels as though the last 12 plus years of toil are coming to an unsatisfactory, almost non-existent finale, and we don't get to say goodbye. But let me reiterate, we seniors are incredible and we will get through this. In the past few months, looking at the CKM Instagram page has made me beyond proud of my fellow Lions. We all have such great things ahead of us, whether it's pursuing a career right off the bat or attending college first. Our class's myriad of achievements, both academic and personal, is a testament to our resilience, which is, in and of itself, a nod to how well McClatchy has prepared us. Thanks to COVID, Our high school story may be more apocalyptic movie than cliche teenage TV. It's oft stated that 2020 is a year of vision, and yet 6 months ago I don't think anyone would have predicted we'd be graduating in this manner. Right now, it may seem as though we're stuck in a superstitious Friday the 13th loop of bad luck. However, circumstances and calendars do change eventually. As Confucius once said, "Our greatest glory is not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall." Congratulations, class of 2020. Here's to being able to hug each other in celebration sometime soon.
I close my eyes and I can see a world that's waiting up for me, that I call my own. Through the dark, through the door, through where no one's been before, but it feels like home. They can say it all sounds crazy. They can say I've lost my mind. I don't care, so call me crazy. We can live in a world that we design. Every night I lie in bed, the brightest colors fill my head. A million dreams are keeping me gonna make. There's a house we can build. Every room inside is filled with things from far away. Special things I compile, each one there to make you smile on a rainy They can say it all sounds crazy. They can say we've lost our minds. I don't care if they call us crazy. Run away to a world that we design. Every night I lie in bed, the brightest colors fill my head. A million dreams are keeping me awake. I think of what the world could be, a vision of the one I see. A million dreams is all it's gonna take. Oh, a million dreams for the world we're gonna make. However big, however small, let me be a part of it all. Share your dreams with me. You may be right, you may be wrong, but say that you'll bring me along to the world you see, to the world I close my eyes to see. I close my eyes to see. 'Cause every night I lie in bed, the brightest colors fill my head. A million dreams are keeping me awake. A million dreams, a million dreams. I think of what the world could be, a vision of the one I see. A million dreams is all it's gonna take. A million dreams for the world we're gonna make. For the world we're gonna make.
Good afternoon, teachers, admin, parents, and most importantly, the graduating class of 2020. I have to be honest, I never expected my final day of senior year to fall on a random Thursday. A Thursday where I complained about math class and took a 4-hour nap when I got home, instead of hugging my teachers goodbye and celebrating with my friends. I mean, I don't think any of us expected that our final months of school would be online, or that Mr. Perry would post his empanada recipe on Google Classroom. But looking back, I guess our high school experience was never really textbook. Each year at McClatchy came with its own set of unexpected challenges and controversies. But to me, our high school experience is not defined by the hardships we went through, but by the strength and power with which we responded. One of the most powerful moments I experienced at McClatchy was our school-wide walkout following the Parkland shooting in February 2018. Though it was a tragedy that struck across the nation, the pain hit close to home. We stood in silence together. We cried together. We hugged and we healed together. And then, instead of quietly moving on, we fought back. A couple of my friends established the Students Against Mass Shootings Club. A large group of us attended the March for Our Lives. We took the pain and anger we felt and channeled it into action. Though the walkout is just one example, the community we experienced at that walkout exists at McClatchy every day. It existed when we stood in solidarity with our classmates who are victims of sexual assault, when we shared our hopes and fears at the activist art night, when we attended the youth climate strike downtown in March last year. It exists now, despite the physical distance, in the late night group calls and, of course, AP Martin's Instagram posts. Though we don't always see eye to eye, I believe all McClatchy students have the traits that make us strong leaders in our community. The ability to not shy away from the conversations that are difficult. The morality to not sweep inequities under the rug, but to address them head on, no matter how uncomfortable. The courage to use our voices to call out behavior we deem unacceptable. The humility to lean on each other when we feel vulnerable. These skills are necessary, especially now as we leave behind our childhood and enter into adulthood. Just a few weeks ago in his commencement speech, President Obama said, "This world is your generation's for the taking." I think our generation is already starting to demand more. We don't accept the status quo if the status quo doesn't work for us. When we see the effects of systemic racism, we protest. When we see how sexism plagues our government, we march. When we see our lives threatened by automatic weapons, we walk out. When we see our futures being risked for profit, we strike. The coronavirus has exposed just how many issues plague our society, how many injustices need to be righted. But the pandemic is also a turning point. We are pressing the reset button just as we're stepping into adulthood. As we recover from this crisis, we don't have to go back to the broken systems. We can rebuild a society for everyone's benefit. Business as usual is over. The coronavirus is an unbelievable tragedy, and nothing can diminish that. What we are experiencing right now is a collective trauma, but it's also a chance to reshape the world, to create a future that is equitable, just, sustainable, and open-minded. It is a chance for us to work together to fulfill all the dreams that seemed impossible before. And we all have the ability to be a part of that rebuilding. The past 4 years have proven that. We have rallied together to address the things that we want changed, and to create a better community. Each of you have, at some point in your time at McClatchy, taken a stance and shared your opinion. As we move forward, I encourage you to take that passion, that spark, and grow it into a fire. The current pandemic has stolen away what we dreamt about for so long. We aren't celebrating our successes in the ways that we wanted and expected to. But despite the current challenges, I'm beyond impressed by our ability to adapt, to find joy in the small things. Yes, some of you have taken quarantine as an opportunity to actually do your homework, while others have had your very own 2007 Britney Spears meltdowns, but no judgment. I've been close. But no matter what your coping methods look like, I applaud our ability to persevere despite the circumstances. We have the resiliency to overcome and the tenacity to create positive change from negative situations. Here's to us, the class of 2020, the change makers. Congratulations, Lions, on completing high school. As we move forward, continue to stand up for what you believe is right, continue to fight for justice, and continue to find hope in one another. We will overcome this crisis, and together we will rebuild stronger and more unified than we were before. Congratulations again.
I was never taught Spanish. If I spoke Spanish, I would have understood my grandfather slipped into his native tongue when telling me about his life in Merida, or when he would lecture me about being a doctor so I could save lives like his. I would have understood the rosary service we held every day the week after he died. Instead, I sit at family reunions, waiting for a translation like an outsider, even with my brown skin letting the rest of the world know I was Mexican. When I enrolled in McClatchy, I knew I wanted to take Spanish. My first Spanish teacher reminded me of a distant tia, so when she announced her after-school ethnic studies class, I was the first to enroll. In this class, I started to pick apart my identity and what defines me. I started to understand more when I read about a girl who doesn't speak Spanish in a book called Growing Up Chicana. I became obsessed with the word Chicana because it was a compromise between Mexican and American, an acknowledgement to my heritage and my place now, belonging without assimilation. By sophomore year, I fully embraced that term. But what really pushed me to find my voice was when it became clear to me that I do not look like the rest of the people in my class, and because of that, I will live a different life. As a Chicana, sometimes I felt alienated from others. I started to question myself, thinking maybe I don't belong in these classes. But I knew that if I wanted to be heard, I would need to speak up. So I did. I expressed how I felt, and I was proud to share a new perspective with the class. I might have engaged in a few too many class arguments, but I now know that I have the power to say what's on my mind. But still, I was finding that balance of being Chicana, making that compromise between my ethnicity and my nationality. So I learned about my culture, and soon stopped self-doubting my validity as a Mexican. I stopped comparing my ethnicity to others, and recognized that being Mexican is literally in my blood. With this newfound confidence, I wanted to be a leader. In my junior year, I was inspired to run for ASB because I believe I could bring change to ASB and the school. I ran on a platform of inclusion. We have so many different types of students here at CKM. I wanted to make sure everyone felt that they're seen and heard, and that ASB is here for them. Throughout my presidency, I constantly surprised myself at how much of an impact I could make. I'm proud of the work my board has done for the school and community, and I hope that we've left a lasting impact. As editor-in-chief of Yearbook, I was determined to make something to commemorate our last year, even if it got cut short. While I spent most of my senior year stressing about finishing the yearbook on time or making plans for ASB, I hoped it would all be worth it. The end goal was to graduate in front of my friends and family. Every once in a while, I would imagine being at graduation and saying my final goodbye before looking at a sea of decorated caps and red gowns. But I know now that that image may forever be a daydream. Even though there are a lot of things we can't get back, I'm grateful for everyone that has tried. From the billboard on Freeport, free donuts from Krispy Kreme, the many virtual ceremonies across the nation, to our very own graduation parade, lined with our kind-hearted staff and parents. It's not the same, but it shows that so many people still care about us and acknowledge our accomplishments. And as I sit in quarantine, I like to look back on what we did have. Every Legion game will hold a special place in my heart, even the ones we didn't win. I love walking down the halls during Spirit Week and seeing everyone dressed head to toe in their class colors, or the buzz in the air on Friday before a dance. I'll miss those rushed conversations between passing period, and even the lunches where I would do homework for the next class. I'll miss the atmosphere, and I'll miss my friends and my classmates, but I'm happy to be a part of a community like this for the past 4 years. The class of 2020 helped me embrace who I am. McClatchy has taught me to be resilient and to speak up when I need to. I don't know who I would be if I'd gone anywhere else. I'm proud of this class. Every one of you should be proud of how far you've come. I don't know everyone's story, but this should be a milestone, and we're here to celebrate all the hard work you've done as you build the foundation for the rest of your lives. No matter what you choose to do next, how you live your life is entirely up to you. And you may be tired of hearing me say this every day, but I hope you'll always remember to shoot for the moon, because even if you miss, you'll land among the stars.
Congratulations, CK McClatchy Seniors 2020. I'm Tani Cantil-Sakaue, the Chief Justice of California, but more importantly for our purposes here, CK McClatchy, class of 77 alum. I loved every minute at McClatchy. I was in student government, I was a cheerleader, and I was a homecoming queen, believe it or not. I loved every minute. But as you make your way into this new, unpredictable world, independent, where norms are changing, where heretofore unimaginable opportunities await you, I have one thing to say to you, and that is show up, work hard, Defy stereotypes. Build your brand. I know you'll succeed. Go Lions!
To Principal Lambert and the McClatchy High community, thank you for your tireless dedication to America's next generation of leaders. To our McClatchy grads of 2020, you are awesome. With extraordinary times, rise extraordinary leaders. That's where you come in. Get ready. This is your time. Make us proud. Congratulations to the C.K. McClatchy class of 2020.
McClatchy class of 2020. It's Chad Smith from the Red Hot Chili Peppers. And you're going to go on to greatness, I have no doubt about it. Now you go and live your life and have fun!
Hey grads, Doug Christie here of the Sacramento Kings, the graduating class of 2020, the McClatchy Lions. I just want to say, first of all, congratulations. I know it's been a tough year, but know this, things get better and you're going to do great things. Keep pushing on.
Hi grads, Bogan Bogdanovic of Sacramento Kings here, wishing the best to the McClatchy Lions class of 2020. Congrats to all of you.